Hello boys and girls, it's Marky Sparky and this is my short guide about basic things you should know about to make good DPS as a sorcerer. The first thing I want to say is that sorcerer is the hardest class to make good DPS. Only Templar is versatile really, it's harder. So let's talk about gear. As for me, I'm trying to maximize my mana parameter because it's very important for a critical search, so I'm using 3 parts of Wise Mage set, then I'm using 3 parts of the Willow Path. Yes, one of them is Destruction Staff with a Precise trait, and on the swap panel it's Restoration Staff with a Precise trait. It's very important to have a Shock Glyph on the Restoration Staff. Then I'm using 2 parts of the Necropotence set. And for jewelry, I'm using Destructive Mage set from the Trials, because it gives a lot of additional mana. And another very important thing is glyphs on the jewelry. It must be spell damage, because otherwise one of your main DPS skills will be absolutely useless. So now let's talk about skills. And first, in primary bar with the Destruction Staff, you must have first Crystal Fragments, second one Critical Search, the fourth one Crushing Shock, and the last one Inner Light. About the third one, this ability can change in different situations. You can use different abilities, but as about now we're talking about single target DPSing, like bosses in trials, etc. So for them you should have spell symmetry there. Let's talk about the second bar. It's a Restoration Staff bar. Here you must have first of all Healing Springs to generate your ultimates. The second one is spell symmetry. It's its place. You always should have spell symmetry here, because if you use other skill here, you will use spell symmetry from this bar. The fourth one is finish ability, Endless Fury. It must be here, because you know Restoration Staff has passive ability, which increases your damage. So you should use Endless Fury from here. It's Inner Light, and last is a Critical Search. As for me, I'm using Critical Search here, but it can change in different situations. For example, when you need to support something, for Ring of Preservation, something else, etc. Let's talk about ultimates. On the second bar, your main ultimate for single target DPSing is Greatest Storm Atronach, the single target one, because it's best sorcerer. On the primary bar, you must have no other choice, Flawless Stormbreaker, because it increases your weight and damage 13%, it's very good. Now let's talk about how to use all this shit. Your primary attack skill is Cancel Attack with a Crushing Shock. It looks like that. Like attack, Crushing Shock. Like attack, Crushing Shock. Just like that. This is your main attack skill. You should train a lot to do it, or maybe you can make a macro. It's very easy to use it. And now let's talk about the single one, the Crystal Fragments. I already told you must have the spell damage jewelry, because otherwise Crystal Fragments will have a very little, very small damage, and it will be useless. So about how to use it, you should use it with a Cancel Attack too, like a Crushing Shock, and it should look like that. Come on, do it. Like a bit lagging. You have procced your Crystal Fragments, Light Attack, Crystal Fragments. It's very easy. But you should do it very fast, you should train a lot, because otherwise you'll lose your DPS. There's another very important thing about Crystal Fragments, how to rechain your mana with it, and how to use spell symmetry. I'm gonna show you now. So if you have your mana below 30–20%, you should use a very simple combo. When a Crystal Fragments proc, you use Spell Symmetry, then Light Attack, and Crystal Fragments. Why? Because, as you know, there is passive abilities in mage guilds, which increase your spell damage for next damaging attack, and there is just Spell Symmetry stats, which reduce your mana cost of the next ability for 28%, And about proc crystal fragments, it always costs 15% less. No, 50% less, sorry. So, if you want to regenerate your mana, do it through crystal fragments, like that. Attacking, and then combo. You can do it a bit faster, but don't do like that. Always do light attack between crystal fragments and something else, because it's very important. Otherwise you will lose your DPS. You shouldn't use crystal fragments just like... You should always use light attacks. Because it's a fucking stupid skill, but it makes good DPS. So another thing, the last thing I think in this guide I want to tell you is how to use combat mana. How to make good tips, because most people drop them into target because it deals additional damage when it drops, but it's not good, because when it drops it deals little damage and it starts counting the TPS. It's not good enough, so if you want to use storm mana, you should drop it near the target. Not on the target, just near it. And it works like that. Oh, a bit slacking because of lagging, but never mind. So it's the basic things you should know about if you want to make good DPS as a sorcerer, but the main thing is training and experience, because you know I export my builds, not only these things, many others, to many other guys, but anyway, before they trained a lot they did 1, 2, or sometimes 300 less DPS than me. So it's very hard, you need to use all the skills, not in the wrong time. You should keep your mana up, you should look for everything. So as much as you train, so you do more DPS. Soon I'm gonna make another guide, because I made another build with a weapon damage tool. It's a special for AA trial. And as for this guide, it's over. Thank you for your attention. Good luck and have fun.